many compliments and congratulations to you, Ajay, Nikunj, and the entire team at ET Now for wonderful 15 years. You guys took birth at a time when we were going through the global financial crisis. If I remember correctly, Ajay, you joined in 2008.
Correct. That's
amidst the global financial crisis.
Bottom.
If I remember correctly, in March 2009, Sensex and not Nifty, Sensex touched the low of 8,000.
Yes.
And today we are very close to 80,000. So it's been a 10x journey over the last 15 years. But of course, last 10 years have been really phenomenal for India and of course for you. So many compliments. And I'll give you a compliment for one more thing. The word that we use together, Jan Nivesh.
That's correct.
That Jan Dhan Yojana has been one of the big, I would say, reform by this government or a big movement by this government, getting 1 billion people into the mainstream financial system. Now we have to take it to the next level, which is like Jan Nivesh. How do we ensure that everybody also does the SIP? Talking about 2030, I think how the India's growth will stand out. We'll surely be the third largest economy in the world.
Okay.
Our markets are already fourth or fifth largest in the world. They will also become the third largest in the world. But I think the more important will be how do we ensure that growth is sustainable, equitable, and inclusive. And I think all the efforts of the government over the last several years have been in that direction and will continue in that direction, because that will make India's growth model relatively more unique relative to all the other economies that have grown from an emerging country to a developed country.
Navneet, everybody keeps talking about India's market cap to GDP. Is it going on the higher side? Valuations, are they going on the higher side? How should one really, as an investor who's running money and every day seeing NAVs going higher, should we book out? Should we ride this? What is the right way of looking at valuation, and is it coming on the some basis of superior economic growth, etc.? What is your message
to investors? We just heard the governor,
and
I think we should compliment him. And of course, it was very inspiring. I mean, if you look at the overall macro environment, from growth inflation dynamics, the external sector, which is in a great shape, the financial stability and the banking sector and corporate sector balance sheet, all of them are like really looking very good. The earnings growth over the next several years could be robust. Liquidity flow, particularly from domestic investors, have been very, very robust. I think a lot of this positive news on the macro front, on the corporate front, and because of the positive sentiments from the investors is also built into the price. So valuations are definitely, at least in parts of the market, maybe running ahead of the fundamentals. The way it will get corrected is by earnings growth over a long period of time.
This retail investor, the deluge of money from retail investors, they've emerged as a third front and out buying FIs, selling big time. Does it look durable and structural to you? Because there's a view that usually they chase performance, and the risk is that if performance goes down for any reason, this money may dry up or at least reduce meaningfully.
So there are many kinds of retail money. The retail money, the investors who are doing, let's say, investors or whatever speculators who are doing intraday, the people who are playing F&O, the people who are doing opportunistic, and the long-term investors who are doing in a very disciplined manner through the SIP. There are all kinds of retail money that's coming to us. The more positive I feel about is the structural flow of money through the SIPs. The other part of the money will depend on the market cycle. There would be cycles where, let's say, market goes a little sideways to a little downward. You will see some of those players kind of maybe leaving the market.
A large
part of the money that we are seeing from investors is very structural in nature, and I think it has a long way to go. Financialization of savings, we are at a very, very early stage of that in India.
One last word I want to talk to you about. We are talking about the next 6-year view from here on. And there's a lot of impetus in the government on one theme, which is manufacturing. Now it is such a huge theme. So many sectors get covered under it. Some new sectors, some older ones are reviving, and some are changing form. You have recently launched a manufacturing fund which saw a very good response. Have you started deploying money already?
I think it's almost fully deployed. I think almost in the portfolio is in public domain. The fund, I think, is already up.
Is valuation not a challenge in manufacturing? You're getting adequate ideas?
No, but the universe is very large, and you are playing the earnings growth over a long period of time.